What's going on, man? Appreciate everybody hitting the like button when I be on here. Yeah, appreciate everybody hitting the like button, supporting the channel. Um, let's see. So yeah, we got some news coming out around a lot of fights right now. After we just had some last night, but as far as the fights is coming out in November and December, it's gonna be some big months. Now we heard the news about Lara and Janibek, and I thought Janibek could have went after Lara a minute ago, but I didn't know if they were gonna try to have an in-house fight first and try to have these guys fight each other, him and Adamas. But then when you had that Shiraz fight, they tried to get that belt off of Adamas then, and it did not work. Definitely did not work. I think at that point, when that didn't fall through, whether people know it or not right now, it's a lot of pressure is on Janibek to pull through in this fight if he's going to fight Lara. It's going to be a lot of pressure on him to win this fight, to be honest with you. The reason why is because he has no one close to Lara on his resume. Even with Lara being that old, there's no one close to that on the resume. So I've seen Lara in front of certain competition, but with Janibek, we just don't know at this point. That's why I wanted him to get tested in certain places. Certain fights, I wanted him to get tested, and it was like, no, that's not it, man. And that may come back to hunt him, to be honest with you. He's 32 now, so he'll be considered in his prime. But yeah, that's not an easy fight for Janibek. Very tough fight. And yeah, the recent matchups he's had at 160, I don't know, the Butler fight, that showed me a lot. But other than the Butler fight, it's not really much. He only fought one time last year because I failed to make weight, so that became a whole situation. Only fought once last year and then once this year. It's gonna be a tough situation for him to get through a lot of these fights. I just don't know if he has the experience, man, that he'll be needing against a guy like Lara. I don't know, but you know how boxing is. Sometimes Lara could just show up in a fight and be older than he was the last fight. Anything can happen. It's gonna be a very interesting matchup, though. I will say that. There's not a lot of people who can deal with Lara right now. Even Zarify said recently that even Lara at that age is dangerous. Because people over in his country were saying Lara was an old man, and he was like, "Bro, Lara is the real deal." And the dude Thomas Lamana, he already knocked him out in the first round. And that was a guy Charlo was just going back and forth with the last fight until he stopped him early. Yeah, Lara's been pushing it lately. Definitely been in some decent fights. Very competitive too. So yeah, he's gonna have the edge going into the fight, but it's not a guarantee that he'll get a victory at this age. But the experience he has and the way he's able to still know how to use his body, it's gonna be a hard fight for Janibek. I can see that right now. Yeah, he definitely does not want to sleep on Lara. Lara's actually a bad first choice for him. Yeah, Lara's a bad first choice for a guy like Janibek. He just is. He does everything that even like a Denzel Bentley has done in the ring with Janibek that gave him issues. With Adamas, you just have to worry about that aggression. But there's still a lot of things that you can do with his style to take advantage. But yeah, with Lara, he does a lot of things like Denzel Bentley does that'll give Janibek some problems. So if we see that happen in the fight with them, you know who's going to get that win. But that's a good matchup, though. That is a very good matchup. As each day goes by, I'm starting to like that matchup a lot more. I think that's a huge matchup. And then you have 3 belts on the line. Man, what if Lara is able to pull that upset, though? Because he'll be the underdog going into the fight. Now, if he wasn't the underdog going to the fight, that'll say a lot. But I think he's going to be the underdog going into this matchup. Shorter guy, but longer arm reach. Yeah, it's going to make up for an interesting battle. And he has like twice as many rounds as Janibek. Yeah, that's going to be something that'll hold him back. Is that experience. But we had Ardamas recently that just said that him and Crawford was not even being discussed as a fight amongst him and his team as of right now, being next. Now you have people saying that. I think they're getting ahead of themselves a little too much right now. Because I'm not going to lie, for 2 years, I thought they were going to mix it up a long time ago, but yeah, I wanted to see Janibek and Adamas mix it up. Is there a chance that these guys can fight each other for undisputed before they fight Crawford? If he was to fight down there at 60? That's the only outcome that would be different from what I'm seeing right now. Could he go out there and Adamas be in a situation where they will fight for undisputed? If Adamas had a chance to fight Jennifer for undisputed, would that happen first? Adamas hasn't fought since When the Shiraz fight? Yeah, he hasn't fought since then. That was in February. We're in October right now. So he won't be back in the ring till what? Almost 12 months later. I think he'll definitely be ready when he gets in the ring though. I don't think the activity or sitting back is gonna be a factor for him because he stays in the gym, stays training. Yeah, Damas trains a lot. He's one of those guys who stays in the gym a lot more than these other boxers. I'm talking about my first time actually seeing him not in the gym was recently. Well, every time he's posting, always in the gym. You know, most guys are always in there and they're not posting, but man, you could tell he was in the gym, especially when that Shiraz fight came around. I don't know if it was the extra motivation or waiting around at 160, but having that belt, that could be the factor, but he was giving guys issue. He said, what's up, John? What's going on? He said, salute, bro. Do you think Xander Zayas should go to 160 now? I think a lot of guys at 54 can go to 160 because I think a lot of guys can go to 160. Is Xander Zayas gonna go to 160 soon? Probably not soon, but eventually, yeah, he will. No, not soon, but eventually he will. No, I think he's gonna ride it out with this belt. He's not gonna. But it's gonna be a lot of guys going to 160. I think Tim Zoo's gonna end up going to 160 eventually. The guy Bakaram said he wanted to go to 160. Who else? It's a lot of 54s that's gonna end up going to 160. That's why Crawford being there at 54, it put a lot of attention on certain boxers. But will they use it to their advantage? Like, will they even have a big fight at 54? That was a good thing about Crawford at 54. He showed the whole boxing world, everybody that's at 54, and then he left. And that put the spotlight on a lot of people that I don't know if they're ready for. Because now people saying guys ain't fought nobody. And that was just, I mean, that was the same case a couple of months ago, so I don't know what's changed. But yeah, he'll definitely go to 160 though. He's too young not to. I look at Xander Zayas as like a Winky Wright. He kind of reminds me of Winky Wright. They don't have the same stance, but they do the same type of things as far as boxing. But he just needs a fight at 54 that makes sense. Like they had that Santion fight they was going to make. I think that would have been a bad idea if Xander Zayas would have fought Santion. If he would, because Santion's not an easy fight. If he fought Santion and he didn't stop him, that would be a bad look. That would be expectations to a lot of people. Because you don't want to fight a guy that Brian Norman just fought a year and a half ago. And the way he stopped Santion brutally, you don't want to go behind Brian Norman and fight Santion at 54 and have a back and forth fight. That'll be a setback to a lot of people. Because I heard people recently saying that Zayas was on Crawford's level. Yeah, the guy get mad at me because I said Zayas wasn't on Crawford level. If he finna fight 147 Santion, if that was a fight that was talked about, he can't be compared to no Crawford or anybody right now. We gotta look at the damage that gets done at 54. Historically, if you look at a lot of fighters at 54, they fight a lot of different people. Like Lara at 54, some of his best fights. It's hard to be at 154. At 54, Lara fought Castano, Jared uh he fought Venice. Then he fought Austin Trout and Gulo. Yeah, he fought a lot of guys at 54. So you can't 50. That's why it's a lot of attention on 54. But if it'll be hard to get that attention back until you have other superstars move up to the weight class that makes sense. But a lot of matchups will leave if they get to a certain point. Because with Boachuk losing recently, I don't think that Virgil Ortiz fight, the rematch, will happen again. Unless something drastic happens with Virgil Ortiz next couple of months, next few months. It's a lot of underdogs at 54 that's getting a lot of wins. Like the guy Abbas Barrow, who beat Ennis Taez. They're talking about him possibly in the future fighting Conor Ben. They even have Conor Ben listed at 54, so I don't think he's going back to 47. He hasn't fought at 47 in a couple of years. But guys know 54 is stacked though. They know it's stacked. Because you have Josh Kelly at 54, but they was talking about him before a lot of other names. Then you got the Cullen Walsh guy who just fought on the Crawford card. Yeah, that Crawford effect is real though. It is definitely real. It's happening right now. That's why I'm kind of sitting back, man. I'm not really um, doing too much because I know what time it is right now. This is the time where the narratives need to get shifted. There ain't no narratives to talk about right now. We can talk about all we can talk about now is some old stuff, some narratives, but no more. And that one fight between Crawford and Canelo did all that. All it took is just one fight. That's why guys have to fight, man. When you fight in the ring, it keeps the noise outside the ring down. I know a lot of fighters like, man, people always saying this and this about me. Bro, if you as long as you're in the ring, sometimes when we say we want to see fighters fight a lot, that's the benefit the fighter too. Like if you fighting one time a year and you coming off a bad performance, that means they're gonna talk about that bad performance for the next 12 months. It's gonna seem like it's longer than that. It's a long time. But with Shakur Stevenson also and this Teofimo fight that's being talked about, I think that's a great direction for his career to actually go in with this Teofimo fight because 135, ever since Devin Haney left, not a lot of people mixing it up down there. Not a lot of people mixing it up. It's definitely not. Oh, where's your facts? A few people sit back right now. He said, "Did you peep when Terrence said Al Heyman made Fedora say no to they fight?" Shaking my head. He was saying a lot. People in the background was room for Crawford like that. Yeah, yeah, I heard about that. The Terrence Crawford interview. I'm not even gonna lie. I heard like 2 minutes of it. Then I seen some clips. I didn't really watch it like that, but I seen what everybody was saying about the interview. I'm not gonna lie. Everything he said in the interview, I've already said. That's how I know I'm either. That's how I know I gotta slow down when it comes to news. Cause everything he said already, I had already said before. Like whoever been saying the opposite of that, that's who the fans believe. But yeah, we've been saying that for years though, man. A lot of people have, but on this channel, I said that since day one. You know what I'm saying? But from what the responses I be getting, bro, it's a lot of people that don't know what's going on out here. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. Boxing want to keep it that way, and a lot of people are comfortable not knowing a lot of things. They don't want to know. They want to live in a fairy tale, like, oh, well, I think this guy and that guy is. People they want to stay in the section when they think somebody's ducking. It makes them feel comfortable. But when the truth come out, don't nobody want to talk about the truth. When you find out somebody really ducking, don't nobody want to talk about that. When they find out that, like even recently with Crawford winning, just by Terrence Crawford winning, now everybody else is changing how they think. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised by the Terrence Crawford interview, by what he said because he never changed what he said. It's just that everybody was always saying, "Oh, it's his fault. It's his fault." It always got to be somebody's fault. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people. I don't think that just the other channels hate on Crawford. I think that the media hates on him as well. I think the media is putting a final touch on. It's a bad look to be real with you. Know what I'm saying? Like, how many times we gonna have a Saudi Arabian prince come to America, or not a prince, but Saudi Arabian guy come to America and treat American fighters better than Americans do? I mean, at the end of the day, people can say they don't like the changes that's going on, but everybody don't like all that race stuff in boxing, man. It's getting played out and old, and a lot of people too old for that stuff. Like a lot of people didn't even watch UFC last night because they be doing that. You know what I'm saying? People tired of the race Olympics in boxing and other things. That's why the fights can't be as big as they need to be. It's always about numbers and everything else. It's too far gone at this point. You know what I'm saying? You have to build the system that's here right now. It's not putting the fighters in the right position. We got way too many pro boxers, like Austin Trout fighting and bare knuckle fighting. Like, man, come on, man. They can't find a fight for Austin Trout in pro boxing. Once I seen that, I was like, oh, okay. And this is a guy who had a very good fight with Canelo. You know what I'm saying? And is still able to mix it up well in the ring. Has a good resume. Very good fighter in boxing, but they have no room for him. So Terrence Crawford could easily be like a Austin Trout if he didn't. He got backlash for Bob Arum, but if it wasn't a Bob Arum, even when he left Bob Arum, PBC had their own thing going on. They got their own thing going on. Promotional teams won out of all this stuff. The boxing fans lost. but promotional teams won. If it wasn't for certain guys like Spence and Wilder, you wouldn't even have that much excitement. But those guys don't get respect in America, though. You got to think about it. The last 10 years, Spence and Wilder is putting on more exciting fights than anybody else. But, you know, one defeat to the best fighter, it's a career ender. And it has nothing to do with Floyd Mayweather. People will say, oh, well, Floyd did that. Man, Floyd ain't no fan. Floyd don't control the minds of the fans of boxing. Floyd doesn't have control over a fan saying, oh, Errol Spence should hang it up because he lost one fight. I think it's just it's just nature of the beast right now. It's a beast to walk into boxing. It's not easy. It is a beast. And there's certain criteria getting built for certain people. If you fit a certain criteria when you move around the ring, they're gonna put you in a category. So all that's getting shut down, really. Yeah, these types of moves could have happened years ago, a long time ago. And they always wanted to choose a side. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think, and I even said recently, which was weird, but I haven't seen too many people really put themselves out there as far as promotional companies to take that risk until it's time to cash out. But early on, it wasn't a lot of guys taking risks. Like if you look at the heavyweight division right now, they trying to clean these young guys up and put them out there like they're just the next big thing. But they didn't even appreciate what they had. You got to think about it. We had all these heavyweights in boxing. They didn't even appreciate what they had. They didn't appreciate it. And now they got people out here talking about, is Anthony Joshua a Hall of Famer or not? This man, they fought Fury or Wilder. Like people, like the media, boxing media, just too comfortable doing their thing. Man. They control boxing. They control boxing though. If the media wanted to right now, they can have like when Ryan fought Haney after that fight happened. Haney got to make that fight happen. 2025 come. So when I hear people complain about certain things in boxing, like, bruh, there's stuff going on now you can complain about. Silence says a lot. When people are silent, I listen to more silence than I do people talking. But the fact that nobody's sitting out here saying, hey, man, that lets you know the standards is different. We don't treat our best like it's like it's something that's one of a kind. And that's an example right there. They want to see stuff get destroyed out here. And certain people. I mean, the standards are so low. He might be a Hall of Famer. I was looking at the standards recently for that. Boxing standards so low. It's gonna be about popularity and stuff now. It's been like that with NFL and other guys. You know, they're gonna throw the stats out there and they're gonna throw NFL and everything out there. But boxing Hall of Fame is, it really is. If you're a big name from your country and you growing up, you had to dominate the world. But now, if you dominate your own country, you get in the Hall of Fame. That's not how things work. Yeah, so they're gonna lower the criteria. You can basically see who's gonna get in the Hall of Fame before it actually comes around. And the crazy part is they're gonna make it harder for guys like Lara to get in. Um, they was asking was Danny Garcia a Hall of Famer. I mean, you look at the people that Danny Garcia has fought. Man, I don't. In my eyes, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But the average person will be like Danny Garcia. No, but you know how that goes. I don't think Danny Garcia will get the kind of respect because of the last 5, 6 years of his career. Yeah, I had already said. Yeah, I knew they was gonna do that about Triple G. Derevyanchenko as Triple G's like toughest fight, like his career defining fight. Standards are so low for that guy. And Triple G was a beast. He still might come back and fight right now. He said he ain't retired, so Triple G said he got one more fight in him. But yeah, they lowering the standards though. They're definitely lowering the standards. Even when Ricky Hatton got in, dude was fighting. He had just gotten there because, oh man, he just got in there because he was a big name from the UK. Nah, he was mixing it up now. And then when you think of an era too, this guy, in this era, I was thinking about that guy. Then you have fighters who's not on that level. I think that's a setback. Like a lot of times, Adrian Broner was a setback, but he's still like a four division champion, three division. But it's kind of hard to push guys over the edge like that. But that'll still be a good fight. I don't think Triple G fighting Andre Ward would have put him on another level. Even Sergey name. I think that would have made Triple G a huge name fighting Andre Ward. Would have been a huge opportunity for him, but they went around it, man. It's a lot of times sponsors and different people on their teams who want to go a certain direction. The Canelo fight was the thing they felt like would push Triple G over the edge, and it helped put him in the Hall of Fame. So his team definitely did the right thing. Can't go against that. Yeah, that secondary stuff is secondary belts. I seen Marquez win at. Yeah, I'm saying now too. Yeah, PD, I'm talking about now. That fight'll be good right now. I was saying that probably like a couple days ago. I said, man, Triple G and Andre Ward ain't too far off in age, man. And we know that Andre Ward is not every day just, of course he's probably still in shape, decent shape, but not every day in the gym like that. At the age he's at right now, 41, that would be a good fight. Haven't fought in a long time. He's been retired way longer than Triple G. He hasn't fought since what, 2017? Man, these dudes don't go ahead and get Andre Ward. Still ain't fought since 2017. I would go ahead and get this guy off the couch. Yeah, I was ever since they said they didn't want to see Joshua versus Andre Ward. I was like, bro. They said they'd rather see Jake Paul versus Joshua than Andre Ward versus Joshua. That was confusing me. I'm gonna be honest with you. The fact that people were saying that, I don't believe that he should be in the Hall of Fame. If people feel like Andre Ward and Anthony Joshua is somewhat of a fight that shouldn't happen, why not? When they shot down that idea, I'm like, bro, don't nobody care about Andre Ward that much. Do y'all know they still be running around on comment sections all over the place? I mean, at least 50% of these people. They sit up here and be saying Kovalev really beat Andre Ward. He was running and he was low blowing. He was hitting below the belt. They still be saying that. They be running around saying Andre Ward be hitting guys with the nuts. That's how he be winning. Then you got Kovalev co-signing that. Man, no, knocked you out. Get out of here. Yeah, I want to see that fight, man. I like to see Triple G versus Andre Ward. I watch Andre Ward and Anthony Joshua too. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people scared. They don't know if Anthony Joshua can beat Andre Ward. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because Andre Ward ain't saying he gonna jump in the ring with Wilder or nobody. Or Fury. So it's not like he's just out here saying anything. And he was calling out Joshua for years. I don't know the first time he called him out. But it was the two names I've heard Andre Ward call out the most. Well, three names. Was Canelo, Triple G, Anthony Joshua. Triple G at first, then it went to Canelo, then it went to Joshua. But that's crazy. Nobody wants to challenge that guy. And that's somebody that you would consider to be a Hall of Famer and a next level fighter, just like a Terrence Crawford. How would I not want Andre Ward on my resume? Yeah, I'd like to see that fight on Jake Paul card, though. I mean, you got to put a guy like that on your resume, man. Just as a boxer. Everybody else is putting, bro. They let a guy put Mike Tyson on his resume. I'm definitely going to get that Andre Ward fight. Yeah, I don't care what weight class it is. Yeah, he just see it, and he's at that age where he knows if I don't say it now, if I wait until I'm Mike age, they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. The man's 41 years old, hasn't fought in 8 years. Man, they gotta feed this dude to Joshua. Nobody would have had a problem with Joshua because it seemed like they want to retire him. They told him to retire last year. But I forgot the fight he actually has coming up, though. They talking about Joshua fighting Bacoli next. Martin Bacoli versus Anthony Joshua. That's the fight they actually talking about. So it looked like a long shot at this point. But man, yeah, that definitely would. But what I've seen in the news, people are not talking about is Shakur Stevenson. Well, actually, Conor Ben at 54, he might get a title. Who knows? It might be Jaron Ennis first, but Conor Ben could possibly get a title shot first at 54. That might be a fight you might see in 2026 or early 2027. You might end up seeing a Conor Ben versus Jaron Ennis. I thought that fight was gonna happen earlier this year. If they would have possibly made that Fury versus Joshua, could have been made very soon, but the way things fell into place and that fight never got made. It was Conor Ben and Jaron Ennis thing, and at this point they're gonna start out. Ben come back from that Eubanks fight. Then after he come back from the Eubanks fight, for the 154 title. The difficult part about that is Charlo is still in line because he's champion of recess. So that's gonna play a huge factor. You either gotta move fast or you might have to just wait to see how things play out. But at any time, Charlo can step in. He's already the mandatory for that belt. So it would either have to be Conor Ben making this fight happen pretty fast over the next few months before summer next year. Or you might have to watch this guy fight mandatory against Charlo. But whoever does win that belt, they're gonna have a lot of responsibility at 54, man. A lot. And it's a big holdup right now at that weight class. We have Jesus Ramos, who can get an opportunity any day now. He's already facing shit. We know we got Thurman and Fedora, Virgil Ortiz coming up. Xander Zayas, we don't know what his opponent is going to be. It looked like they stepped away from the Santion fight. They're probably not going to go through with that one. Like I said before, Xander Zayas fighting Santion after Brian Norman had a brutal knockout. I don't think Santion is easy work like that. I just don't. I don't think Santion is easy work. At 54, he's definitely not going to be easy work. I just really think he's better than people give him credit for. He got stopped by Norman, and now people think he's trash possibly, but I watched the guy fight a few times, and I just can't come around to say that he's done or finished yet. And Xander Zayas turning around and not making that fight happen. It possibly could still happen, but as I've heard, they're going in another direction. That would have been a huge setback. He goes out there and has a war with a guy who just got brutally knocked out at 47. I wouldn't even play around with a matchup like that. Yeah, it could happen. That Charlo and Ennis fight, if everything lines up, that fight could have actually been you know what's crazy, PD? That fight could have been next. If Charlo would have fought that mandatory instead of this guy right here, Barreau, he could have jumped ahead of this guy with the super champion status, but instead he let this guy get the fight. And then this guy ended up beating Taez. Now he's in line for the Charlo fight. So Charlo would have actually had to fight Jaron Ennis instead, and that would have been next. That would have been next. I think Jaron Ennis is going in the direction of Conor Ben. From what I've seen, Conor Ben and Jaron Ennis has been more of a likely fight than any other fight. I know they said Terrence Crawford and Virgil Ortiz, which I think that'll happen next year. But the Conor Ben fight that's not going to get away from Jaron Ennis. I think that fight has to happen, especially with Eddie Hearn. Doesn't have a lot of big names that you can really match up with Conor Ben from Matchroom. But yeah, he was going in the direction of a you said you think Zaya want a bigger name? Yeah, I think so too. Especially at 54. It's too many guys. It's too many dangerous guys though can't really play with at 54. Even though Conwell lost, not gonna lie, I wouldn't want to be a guy who fight him after he just lost. I wouldn't want to be the guy who fights him after his loss, so that would be a tough fight. It's a lot of tough names. Yeah, most of these guys are undefeated or have one loss at 54, so it's gonna be difficult. They put Zayas in a difficult situation. Even with him and Brandon Adams, or the guy that Adams that lost to recently, Kurzakis, he's 28. I don't know. Carbonell would be a good fight for Xander Zayas. I know Carbonell got knocked out by Madrimov. That'll be a good fight though. You got Carlos Ocampo now. Oh, Veron is a good fight. Francisco Veron. Valzant, that'll be a tough fight. Valzant is a tough fight. Mendoza. Yeah, it's not no easy fights at 54. But they might. He already fought Garcia Perez. Yeah, man, you never know. They might throw him in there with Colin Walsh out of nowhere. Them dudes around the same age too. Colin Walsh only a year older than Xander Zayas. I don't think they'll do it now, but they might eventually throw him in the ring with him. But I can see a lot of those guys having 1 or 2 fights, then moving up. Yeah, Xander Zayas, he ain't did nothing wrong. He probably get hate from some people, but he came to Fondora's fight. Had a face off with Fondora and everything. It ain't much he can do after that. I don't think he get credit for getting ducked by Fondora. Whether it was business or not, on paper it's still a duck. And he went to the man's fight. What's up, Wild Man? What's going on? He said, "What's the topic?" Oh, we're just talking about random fights that's getting talked about right now. If you heard about any, you said, "What's the topic?" Bud versus Bivol at 175. Bivol is a small lightweight. You said you want to see Bivol versus Bud at 175? Shoot, I just want to see Benavidez fight Bivol. Or anybody. If I'm Benavidez and I sit up here and see Bivol get a fight with Terrence Crawford before me, I don't know if that would be a good thing for boxing. Don't you think? It's not too many guys in boxing that fight more people than Benavidez. You said Boost and Virgil move funny. Now they've been doing the same thing they've been doing for the last 10 years. I don't think Virgil and Boots move funny. They've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years. And it's not a coincidence that on both sides, they're just now starting to get into the mix. He said Virgil team stay chatting about Xander. Yeah, he wants Xander bad, bro. I don't know what it is. I guess after they had that situation with the negotiations or the offer that was sent or the email, ever since then it's been bad blood. But you know, Virgil, I'm gonna be real with you, Virgil like that with most people though. He was like that with Ryan last year. Ryan had said something about Virgil last year. He was like, man, he called Oscar. He was like, man, make that fight happen. I know this dude can make 54. Make that fight happen. And you ain't hear Ryan say nothing else after that. Then Ryan came out and said Virgil lost. He said Virgil lost, man. He said Boots take another tune-up after Lima, he gotta get called out. I think the only reason the attention is on Boots like that is because people wanna line him up with Terrence Crawford. That's just it. I mean, the people who think Boots is on Terrence Crawford level, they the ones who got to explain why Boots is taking tune-ups. You know, when everything going good for Boots. But if the bad part about it is if Terrence Crawford would have lost to Canelo, people would have been on Boots' side right now. He said Baccarat the new boogeyman. No, he's the old boogeyman. He was supposed to fight Charlo 3 or 4 years ago. For him to fight Jamel Charlo. I want to say before he fought Brian Castano. This was like Charlo's had a contract to fight Baccarat for 3 or 4 years. A lot of people don't try to jump in the ring with Russian fighters though. That's just common. They don't like to get in the ring with a lot of these Russian guys. Like the guy that Dave Morrell was fighting. I was telling people about that guy for a year. Every live I've done, probably the last year. If you hear me, I always say Katiev. Watch out for this guy Katiev at 175. These Russian guys are not playing when it comes to boxing. That's why he did what he did against Morrell. But a lot of people don't want to jump in the ring with these Russian fighters. They just don't. They know what time it is. That's why Morrell was in there playing with a Russian fighter. Bro, Russian fighters are one of the most disciplined fighters you can be in the ring with. Can't really get in the ring and just dance on a guy like that. He said, who is Wilder fighting next? Is it known yet? They're talking about Wilder fighting Andy Ruiz. So those 2 fights I've heard about. He said, I do feel Virgil's fought better opponents than Boots. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he definitely did. Boy, they already have the idea of Eddie Hearn's gonna be. That's why Eddie Hearn, and if you notice, Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya came out and said that. Oh well, if it didn't come out of my mouth, then Oscar knows when that fight's gonna happen. They know when the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney rematch could possibly happen. Oh yeah, shout out to Cosmo, man. Yeah, he said Boots has talent. That's why it's so frustrating. Yeah, Boots is a very good talent, but I'm gonna be honest with you, and try to do what Earl Spence has done in his career, or what Canelo or anybody else has done to be or Terrence Crawford. He's being compared to guys who be ending people's careers. That's why I stay away from other fighters who be ending people's careers. If you're just a regular fighter who go out there and box and mix it up and you go end the guys' careers though. Even Earl Spence. We seen what Uga Earl Spence. You can do that with a lot of fighters. Sean Paul, Danny Garcia had just got in a car wreck instead of Earl Spence, who just got in a car wreck and was sliding on the pavement. That's why I say with Boots, people don't understand it. It's gonna take a long time for him just to match what Earl Spence done. Forget Terrence Crawford. Just for him to match what Earl Spence has done. Look at Earl Spence's resume. And then look how many guys is gonna get in the Hall of Fame. People saying Fedora just said Keith Thurman is a Hall of Famer. Keith Thurman just said recently that Earl Spence was supposed to fight him. He said, "Agreed, it's frustrating about Boots. He like a big tank, you know." But yeah, man, the business is doing its part right now. They doing their part right now. But I think they going a little too heavy on the my guy can beat Crawford thing. It backfired. It backfired. I seen the last couple of weeks when the sparring came out with Canelo, I said what I said and I walked away because I already know what time it is. These people ain't really Boots fans. I really been watching Boots for years. These people ain't Boots fans. They just want Boots to beat Terrence Crawford. They're not gonna say it out loud, but they don't think Boots can beat Canelo. And I'm the one who said, and I said when Boots sparred Canelo, I said him sparring Canelo really wasted an opportunity at possibly fighting Canelo. We know Canelo ain't fighting for belts right now. So Boots could have fought Canelo next. Who knows? But that sparring, that was the biggest nothing I ever seen. I was like, bro, I don't know why y'all celebrating this. In a couple of weeks, y'all gonna be like, man, that don't even matter. But yeah, they blew that sparring way out of proportion, bro. They tried to hype it up. I'm like, man, come on, man. And it backfired. That's why I didn't make no videos hyping it up or nothing, because I knew once Terrence Crawford goes out there and wins, the same people who was hyping up the sparring, they gonna be bashing old boy. He said Rolly has to be considered a 3-time champ if people say Tank is. Yeah, Rolly is definitely a 3-division champ. That's crazy. Crazy, ain't it? That's wild. Rolly KO a legend like Pacquiao. He might get in the Hall of Fame. Bro, on paper, you're absolutely right. And that's how it gets made. Because you know a lot of these people who gonna do Hall of Fame in 20, 30 years, you know, they're not in the mix right now. So yeah, he possibly can get in there in 20, 30 years. On paper, I wouldn't doubt it. I definitely wouldn't doubt it. That's why I told people, if you go back and look at the Eastside Cruz fight when he was getting beat up by Cruz, he was still on his feet. He was still on his feet, taking a beating. He wasn't all over the place. He was still in the mix a little bit, but yeah, he definitely bounced back with that fight over Ryan. For sure. And he's only 29. Yeah, Rolly's young. Yeah, beating Ryan and Pacquiao on paper, bro. You're right. He might get in there. For sure. It's not gonna be too many guys who have the kind of wins that he's gonna have. But that Barroso thing was a setback, but because you know he wasn't supposed to get past that anyways. He said Bozy has a nice stable with Boots, Fulton, Catterall, Andy Cruz. Big Baby Miller was in there too. I don't know what his situation is. If that was just a one fight situation, but Bozy trained Big Baby Miller against Andy Cruz and did a very great job too. I thought that Andy Cruz, not Andy Cruz, but against Andrew Ruiz. Against Andrew Ruiz, I thought he was going with somebody else because he used someone different against Daniel Dubois. But then he comes in 50 pounds lighter. Then he has Bozy in the corner. I was like, man, I should have switched my pick. If I would have known that, I would have picked Big Baby Miller. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao, all-time great at this point. He just adding on to his legacy. He definitely adding on to his legacy. But with Boots, though, I'm gonna be honest with you, it sounds like people have a plan with him because even the media, they're not really putting out the fact that he was able to get that 154 belt and he would have been able to fight everybody. Like the way things were lined up for Jaron Ennis, he could have fought Taez, and had the belt that Barrow got on this picture right here, then he could have went ahead and fought Charlo and fought Virgil Ortiz. Terrence Crawford never had an opportunity like that to fight those guys as mandatories, or even to have those type of fights set up. That's why Virgil is good. He's fighting Erickson Lubin. Like, that's a very tough fight. You know, Erickson Lubin is a good fighter when a lot of people have seen Erickson Lubin get knocked out early against Charlo, and they still say he's a dangerous fighter. You know how much respect you have to, and this is a person that people said that lost to Ramos. You know how much respect you have to have in boxing to get stopped twice by Fedora, and you got knocked out by Charlo in the first round, to come all the way back in your career, have a controversial fight against Ramos, and you still have fans that don't even like you say, "Hey, this is a tough fight for Virgil Ortiz." So I'm giving Virgil Ortiz a pass on this one. Like, he's doing his job. I'm very high on Virgil Ortiz. I don't think he's doing nothing that he's not supposed to. Yeah, Barrow the main champion now. He 30 years, just turned 30. 28-year-old prospect is crazy. they call they call Tank a 30-year-old prospect. Yeah, that was funny. And they call him a 28-year-old prospect. Yeah, that attention, man. And then you got Brian Norman and Haney fighting each other. That's not good, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Brian Norman and Haney are too young to be having bigger fights than the rest of these guys. They have no excuses. Promoters need to start believing in these guys. It sounds like these promoters don't believe in these guys like that. Because Haney with no promoter is putting on some classic fights, man. That's 2 fights to run Ennis was supposed to have. So when you look at it like that, it's like, man, real please, man. You think Terrence Crawford would have turned down an opportunity to fight Devin Haney or these other guys? Absolutely not. That's why making weight should never be talked down on. It's not easy to make weight. I think Keyshawn and Jaron Ennis has let a lot of fans in on, and Ryan Garcia. It's not easy to make weight. Yeah, Lubin is a beast, man. You said Keith Thurman shouldn't be getting a title shot, 1 fight in 4 years, and it's Brock Jarvis. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I think Keith Thurman is a victim of the pandemic, and also I don't think he didn't take Manny Pacquiao very serious in that fight. Early on in that fight, he didn't take Manny very serious. And it was just a setback, man. He didn't take Manny very serious at all. Said that him losing to Manny Pacquiao messed his own career up, as far as that's the reason he couldn't fight early. Fight. That's a fight that everybody was looking for. That's what kind of held up the Crawford situation. He said Devin, straight right hand better be sharp. Man, it's a lot of things got to be sharp against Norman. A lot of things got to. The Norman and Haney fight is weird because it's a lot of people that want these guys to get beat for some certain reasons. So they're hoping that his Devin Haney's superior boxing skills defeat Brian Norman. But it's weird though. I'm gonna tell you why it's weird when that conversation. I want y'all to pay attention to this too. They'll say, as far as Haney's skills and everything in this fight, but then against Ryan, it was like, well, will his chin be able to hold up? I don't hear too many questions about the chin, but people think he'll get knocked out in this fight though. So that might be the chin being in question. But they hoping that Brian Norman somehow takes the loss to this guy. They do not want to fight him if he's able to get past a Devin Haney. Fight with a victory. PD said they ain't test Pac-Man that fight neither. Can't forget he said he was hitting like bricks. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. I definitely seen that. But I'm gonna be honest with you though, as far as you know how people be saying, man, all those guys was on it back then. I wouldn't say all of them, but it got to a certain point where guys, I don't want to throw no names out there 'cause I can get sued, but you know, it was certain names that started popping up in the ring with Pacquiao that was like, hey, you know what? I'm not finna be getting hit with these shots, and I know we ain't get tested for this fight or something like that. That's why guys getting tested now look regular. That's why people. The only way you start to find out now who was really dirty before, when you see how trash a lot of these guys are. A lot of these guys don't have no power. People need to see in real time how a guy looks with no PEDs. Now they have a very good example of how it looks. The matter in boxing. I'll I'll never understand that in my life. That was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. You said PBC politics. I think it's all politics. I don't think it's just PBC. I think it's all politics, to be honest with you, because they did a shitty job as far as heavyweights. They out here trying to push 20-year-old heavyweight before he's even accomplished a lot of things in boxing. I think all around just the politics. A lot of these countries have destroyed the foundation they built for boxing, not just American boxing. I think the UK has hurt their foundation of boxing too by trying to keep up with America, and people trying to make sure that they have enough heavyweights in the way of other heavyweights over here, trying to block certain fights, and guys that got their careers ended like that. The only thing I don't like that PBC did was I think they gave a lot of heavyweight fights over to the UK that the UK didn't bring over here. Like America was sending a lot of heavyweight opponents over to the UK, but it wasn't a lot of UK opponents that was getting sent over here. Then come to find out, guys ain't getting tested. Well, come on, man. So yeah, PBC definitely dropped the ball on that one. I gotta agree with you on that one, though. As far as that situation, man, yeah, man. Because they had all the firepower and they just kept bending the knee for all these other guys. Like a lot of these guys don't even know what was happening around that time. I even heard Chris Arreola recently. I know people probably seen this already, but Chris Arreola had said recently, he was like, yeah, Andrew Ruiz punches harder than Deontay Wilder. And I had thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, you know what? That is true for him. For him. For Areola, that's true. Because he got stopped with a broken hand. Deontay Wilder stopped Chris Areola with a broken hand. And people will say that's not impressive. Well, Canelo broke his. I want to say he sprained his wrist or something like that, and he couldn't get a knockout against John Ryder. And John Ryder was already done by then. Deontay Wilder, skinny as he is, undersized, was able to stop Chris Arreola with a broke hand. And he didn't even get stopped by Andrew Ruiz. And the man said, man, Andrew Ruiz punches harder, but he didn't stop you though. So for you to get stopped by a guy who punches weaker, and this is a guy they say they can't box, and he ain't had no power like that. I mean, the legend continues on that guy. When it comes to Wilder, the legend continues. Trust me. Boxers ain't stopping guys out here with a broken hand. We seen Shakur Stevenson had a messed up hand against De Los Santos. That's why I say, man, the media has played a huge part, bro. But history is going to show that a lot of these guys are different. Sometimes the trash is really the treasure. No, he ain't meet him. He definitely didn't meet him. I want to see a couple of these guys out of Cuba though. These Cuban heavyweights. I want to see those guys in the action. I think the guy's name Pero. You got two guys named Pero. I think they're brothers. You got Lanier and you got the other one. I forgot his name. Lanier is 32 though. Only has 12 fights. Only has 12 fights. Only has 48 rounds of experience. 32 years old though. He's had over 100 fights in the amateurs. I think a lot of these heavyweights, man, they can get in the mix. But I don't like how boxing is kind of moving around some of these Cuban heavyweights. As we've seen recently, Moses Atama is being accused of ducking Frank Sanchez right now. It's a lot of people running around right now. And hold on, let me address something too I seen over a couple of days ago. I seen people in the comment section recently, a lot of people, and most of these people are probably Canelo fans. I know these people are not calling David Morrell a bum because he had a toe-to-toe fight with a top 5 light heavyweight. Are they really calling David Morrell a bum? They said David Morrell lost to Benavidez, and they said that he lost his last fight to Katiev, and he a bum. So, and I'm gonna tell you, that's why a lot of these young guys don't fight. That's why a lot of guys that's in charge of a lot of these fighters, promoters, they don't want to put guys in the mix. They like, hey man, you already not getting credit for fighting this guy. Why would you go out there and fight another tough guy? You just fought Benavidez and you just fought this Katiev guy that nobody know about. Why would you go out there and risk fighting these big names and you're not getting credit for it? They're calling you a bum now. I can't believe Dave Morrell's getting called a bum right now by a lot of people because he had a bad performance his last fight. Well, it wasn't really a bad performance. I mean, he was trying to, what they say, entertain. Boxing is still an entertaining sport. It's for entertainment. And you wasn't watching that fight because of the other guy. You was watching that fight because of Dave Morrell. But to call him a bum, that's crazy, man. I can't believe they called Dave Morrell a bum. I've been seeing that recently. It's a lot of, I'm gonna have to take the day out to go through these things, but it's a lot of narratives in boxing that's coming from certain fan bases. Like Floyd picture came up the other day. They said Floyd was ducking and he took an IV and this, and this. And I'm just like, bro, when did the IV become worse than PEDs? Yeah, Katiev would knock out Canelo easy. Katiev is, bro, he's nice in the ring. If y'all haven't seen this guy, the way he moves around, this dude be flipping around like he's in gymnastics. He reminds me of Rob Van Dam outside the ring. If y'all never seen this guy Katiev, he be throwing flying kicks, and man, dude's an animal. Probably an MMA fighter, low key. But if you seen this guy's highlights going to Instagram, this guy be throwing flying kicks, spinning kicks in the air like not Rob Van Dam, but what's the guy's name? Forgot his first name, but Claude Van Dam. Sorry. Yeah, ungrateful, bro. Just ungrateful. It was the best fight on the card. Like, bro, we ain't gonna never get no fights like that. No way. We ain't gonna never get no fights like that no more. That's gonna stop a lot of things. And the fight went 12 rounds. They acting like he got stopped or something. Okay, he got dropped. Then the last couple of rounds, he was giving the old boy the business. Yeah, I was very disappointed in that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because Dave Morrell, ain't nobody did more than Dave Morrell in 2025. If we want to be honest. Nobody's done more than Dave Morrell in 2025 when it comes to making fights. Who got a better resume in 2025 than Dave Morrell? And we talking about 2 fights minimum. Benavidez and Katia. And then the 2 guys that Morrell fought, everybody's saying those guys are killers. So it's not like he fought somebody who he was just sparring and went 12 rounds with. No, he's fighting some guys who are deadly. So yeah, they got to fall back from that, man. Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme. My bad. You know, the last Van Damme I knew was from wrestling. Yeah, but that dude is athletic. He's probably the most athletic boxer I've seen, and he's at 175. Like, his athleticism is up there with Terrence Crawford. He's athletic like that. Like, dude's a problem. So yeah, at 175, you don't see a lot of people that's trying to line up to fight him. I don't know who he's gonna fight next, but it's not gonna be too many people trying to line up to fight him. I will say that guy's a threat. But yeah, just the backlash, that was crazy though. That's why I'm trying to, hold back from. I don't really do that much against certain people, unless it's like a crazy decision or something. I don't really push back on certain things, but yeah, they got to get him past though. If he's not making the fights he's making, we don't have a good 2025. You don't start the year off with Morrell versus Benavidez, and then you have Fierro versus Pitbull. Then this guy, y'all remember the guy who fought Pitbull earlier this year on the Benavidez and Morrell card? He fought last night. He said he out here fighting the boss in jail of a different game. He out here fighting mob bosses. You remember when Spider-Man had to fight Lex Luger when he was in that suit? Something like that. Yeah, Morrell fights some real bosses in the boxing game right now. Yeah, they don't understand that. Then he's following it up with Cullen Smith. Then Morrell's gonna fight Cullen Smith. This dude finna fight Benavidez, Katia. Then he fighting Cullen Smith. And he just got the 175. This dude just got the 175. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm PBC, I would have kept those fights on the platform. That's the guy I'm gonna keep on the platform to make sure he's good. Next fight could possibly be. I'm pretty sure the way Turkey out of Sheet sees Morrell taking these fights, he's comfortable with making him a co-main event or anything on these fight cards. And then you got to realize too, like PD said, that was the best fight on the card. So basically, a prelim fight or a fight at the beginning of a main card was the biggest fight you could have, and everybody was tuned in. Everybody was blown away by the performances they had. Both guys. Yeah, Morrell is a showstopper right now in boxing. Even coming off of a bad performance. I definitely needed to say that because I'm like, what? What's going on? But with Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis at 140. The powers that be in boxing is gonna make these guys fight. They're gonna make these guys fight, or they're gonna have one of these guys blatantly duck the other so he can have bragging rights. So they're gonna blatantly have Keyshawn or Shakur drop a belt to avoid this fight, or they're gonna end up fighting each other. I seen this coming a long time ago when Keyshawn was saying, "Oh man, I might move up to 140," and then Shakur was like, "Well, I'm looking at," when Shakur was looking at fights at 140 already, and Keyshawn was talking about moving up to 140. This is a bad situation. You got two guys who are friendly and friends who are possibly going to be mandatory if Teofimo takes this fight or doesn't take this fight. Teofimo says, "Hey, I'm just going to drop this belt." Shakur Stevenson will be fighting for the belt, and Keyshawn will be in line. And that's why people say, "Oh, why didn't give Keyshawn the opportunity to fight for a belt at 140 already?" Because of this. They want to make sure that they don't drag out this process too long. I don't like it because at 35, you could have done a lot more things. Like Andy Cruz right now. They're saying that he's possibly going to be fighting for a vacant belt. If Miritai drops this belt, that fight might not happen. I don't know. The ball is basically in Miritai's court at this point. But if he doesn't make that fight, the sand is going to fall on him because I don't see Andy Cruz budging off of that mandatory fight. And the IBF making that move right now says a lot. If Miritai drops that belt and goes to 140, I don't know, man. 140 gonna have to start doing something. You already have Roach coming in fighting Pitbull. 140 got to turn it up soon, man. You can't have all these guys coming to that weight class and just to do the same thing that happened in 135. Have one or two guys mixing it up, and everybody else just standing by. Can't be like that. But turning down title fights or dropping belts, nah, no way. Anybody drop a belt right now, it ain't because of weight issues. That's a red flag for me. Even with the company that is, associated with that fighter, that's gonna be a bad look for them too. You already had Shakur Stevenson. I'm not Shakur, but Keyshawn. Yeah, Shakur move up to 30, 40 possibly. It's not official yet, but he can still hold on to that 35 belt. But eventually, Andy Cruz, he's looking to get that belt with Miritai, and he's the number one contender with Shakur Stevenson. So everybody's not younger. A lot of these guys are 28 now, 29, 30. It's time to mix it up. A lot of people can't hide behind Terrence Crawford and other big names to try to align yourself with, even if you're just friends with them. You got to make your own legacy. He said, "Do you think Canelo will get the belts back?" No, I don't think Canelo cares about the belts. He's two-time undisputed now after beat William Skull. I don't think Canelo's thinking about the belts in boxing. It's too much work. Canelo was never a guy that was running around trying to chase all the belts in the first place. It just happened. You know, he could have been undisputed at 54, 60. But Canelo knows 54 is a hard weight class. No matter if it's 2010 or 2025. Canelo knows that 154 pounds, some of the most dangerous men on the planet is at 154. You got speed, power, athleticism, some dangerous guys at 54. If you look back at history, some of the most dangerous fighters is at 54, 60. But yeah, that's why Canelo went ahead and moved up to 68. Triple G knew as well. If Triple G wanted to have an opportunity to be undisputed at 60, he could have. He definitely could have. It's hard to do. It's very hard. It's gonna be hard for anybody who wants to be undisputed at 54 to get it done. It's gonna be hard, man. I think the only person that could come close, I don't want to throw no names out there because this is a dangerous weight class. But Fundora, man, if he keeps that momentum going he has right now, it possibly can happen, but it's too many names. It'll only take one style to knock you off. But Charlo is still a dangerous guy at 54, though. I would say that just because of the power and his experience at that weight class. Yeah, he's still dangerous. Oh yeah, he ain't with them belts, man. He done. Canelo done with them belts. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo fight Jake Paul early 2027 or late next year. Canelo might have one more fight next year, and then might fight a Jake Paul or something. But he has 2 fights with Turkey, and it looks like he's gonna go through with those. But I see Canelo having 2 more fights, fighting, just any kind of names. I think Eubanks is actually the guy Canelo gonna fight. Chris Eubank Jr. I think that's gonna happen in May. The name after that, I don't know. But I think he's gonna fight Chris Eubank Jr., who's going to be at 160. I don't think he's gonna fight too many 168s. Eubanks will be at 68, but I don't think he's gonna fight too many 168s. Like Lester Martinez, a lot of those guys, a lot of names you're hearing with Terrence Crawford, people that really want to associate with Canelo. So I think he's out of the picture right now. Whatever shots he called, that's how it's gonna go. That's how it's been for a while now. Canelo took this fight against a lot of people's, favorite. People didn't want to see Canelo versus Terrence Crawford. This fight got a lot of backlash. I think it would have actually been a bigger fight if over the last 2 years the media wasn't disrespecting the matchup. But only in this sport they do things like that. They'll say it was a size thing, but these guys are liars, man. They didn't say that when Triple G fought Kell Brook. Like, the media are liars. And they've heard a lot of situations like that. But yeah, they really diminished. They made Canelo look worse than what he actually was, because when you look at it, that's not a fight you're supposed to be disrespecting. Look at how the fight turned out. The narrative going into it, guy was going to run and stuff like that. It's not how you build a sport up. But they stay doing that to guys like Crawford. And we're talking about the people who's supposed to be promoting the fight. He said he might fight Tank and Pacquiao too. At this point, yeah. I can see Tank. I can see Tank taking that fight. At this point, yeah. Especially Tank. Hey, speaking of Tank and Pacquiao. Hey, PD, I got a question. So Pacquiao and Rolly would be after the Jake Paul fight. Do you think that if Manny Pacquiao beats Rolly, that Tank will fight Manny Pacquiao? I think that's a possibility. Because you know the first thing that people say right now is Tank ain't got no names on his resume. He ain't fought nobody. Even though it's an old Manny Pacquiao, we know that Manny Pacquiao is old. People will still watch that fight. If Rolly goes out here and loses to Manny Pacquiao, Tank versus Manny Pacquiao will be a huge fight. I can see that happening. Because Pacquiao already said he'll fight Tank plenty of times. Plenty of times. Oh yeah, we had Luis Neri come out recently and said that the Mexicans, he said if Canelo had beaten Crawford, he said but Mexicans still would have been acting funny even if Canelo would have won. He said they would have said that he beat him because he was smaller and that he beat him because he moved up 2 divisions. If he lost because he was hit by a smaller fighter. Hey, he's lying, bro. I don't know why people say that if Canelo would have beat Crawford, he wouldn't have got credit. Bro, he got credit for Charlo. Man, these guys, I'm telling you, bro, when one person says one thing and it just travels, people think that, oh, yeah, that's right. Bro, this guy's wrong. He's a liar. Canelo got credit for Charlo. Matter of fact, after Canelo beat Charlo, they said he can do whatever he wants. Talking about Canelo ain't gonna get credit for a smaller fighter. He did already. Talking about, boy. How many dudes Canelo done fought that was smaller than him? Lara was smaller than him. Not on paper, but look where Lara at right now. If Canelo can make 160, he should jump down to 160. He can't. Canelo been fighting guys smaller than him and getting credit. Man, these guys be saying anything in boxing. Matter of fact, all these guys been getting credit for fighting smaller guys. Lomachenko, Triple G. See, I'm telling y'all, these guys are liars. Let me tell you why. They've been giving all these guys Triple G getting in the Hall of Fame for fighting a smaller guy. So what the hell is all these Neri and all these other people talking about? Triple G is getting in the Hall of Fame for losing to a smaller fighter. What are these weirdos in boxing talking about? Bro, ain't nobody out here ain't no Mexicans out here after Canelo. He said they would have criticized him anyways. He said the Mexicans was let me see, where is it at? I can't find it. Might have to go somewhere else to find it. Yeah, I don't believe that, bro. Talking about the Mexicans, we ain't gonna give Canelo credit. Man, this dude be getting credit for all these little small guys. If I go through here and name all the smaller guys he fought, McGee came from 160. Fought Crawford, Charlo. Man, they got credit for all these smaller guys. Amir Khan, dude got credit for Amir Khan, bro. Stop it. Stop it, man. This man has gotten a lot of respect in boxing. People was like, oh, guys are just going to troll. Have anybody been trolling Canelo since he's lost? That was something that people were going to say. Oh, people just want to see Canelo lose. Have you seen anybody out here who just wanted to see Canelo lose? That's why I say, in boxing, a lot of these fan bases who think I support my people and all that. Bro, y'all are destroying boxing. Ain't nobody out here criticizing Canelo and saying, man, He's so trash. After this man done lost the fight. Like, bro, we grown out here. We got it's real fan bases. It's real boxing fan bases out here. I'm telling y'all this right now. We starting to find out who really got real fans and who got fake fans, who got race fans, or who really love boxing. That's what we starting to find out right now. Because a lot of people ain't what they realize now. It ain't too much. See, at first, a lot of fans was relying on, oh, we got the rivalries, we got this Mexican versus black rivalry, bro. When you fight with Turkey, they don't care about none of that, bro. Just make the fight happen. And that's what people don't like. We going into a generation now where you can't sit up because a lot of these guys' favorite fighters only got like 1 or 2 Americans on their resume. Been fighting in America for 30 years, only got 1 or 2 Americans on their resume. 1 or 2. We can't keep going like that. All these guys been getting credit for 10 years for fighting smaller people. Then people talking about, so how did boxing get to where it is now? All these guys been getting credit for fighting smaller people for 10 years, bro. More than that, but I'm just gonna throw 10 years out there. All of a sudden, when Canelo fight Crawford, oh, he ain't getting credit. Oh, he ain't gonna get credit for that. This dude getting credit for a loss. I just heard boxers calling him the greatest Mexican of all time for losing to a small guy. And then, like PD said, they said that Loma was old at 36. At 36, they talking about Loma, old man. They want to, I'm gonna be honest with you, they wanted Loma to retire so bad. They wanted him to retire. Because they knew the Lomachenko that fought Devin Haney, they didn't say he was done and old. Then after that, Loma went out and stopped Kambosos. But it's good. It's a good thing that guys like Loma stepped out of the way. He's like, I'm not gonna be a distraction. If I'm not in the mix, I'm not gonna act like I'm in the mix. I'm not gonna wait around for paydays. I'm just gonna hang it up and walk away. I respect that. Hey, I respect it. You know it's time to hang it up, retire. It is what it is. They ain't catching you at your best. All right, cool. You feel like you ain't at your best no more? Hang it up. But a lot of guys know now. They know now. Oh, we got to mix it up. We got to do what David Morrell doing. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew that David Morrell was on that type of time when he was talking to Dave Benavidez probably a year and a half ago. I was like, oh, he on that type of time for real. These other guys, I don't believe them. Because every time you stuck a microphone in Morrell's face, he like, bro, I'm trying to fight Benavidez now. He ain't say how much he need and what the business. He said, I just need that fight. Now you have guys that's older than David Morrell that's not mixing it up like him. That's when everything, see, it's time to separate yourself now as a fighter. And Morrell has 13 fights, 27 years old. The youngest guy, let me tell y'all this. Let me tell you how impressive what Morrell is doing right now. Morrell is younger than Ben Whitaker. I think Ben Whitaker is like 28. Ben Whitaker is 28. Morrell at 27 is going to fight 3 top 5 guys in a row. And he's only 27. This is the new era of boxing we in. This is the new era. When I think of the new era of boxing, Morrell is a guy whose name come up. Benavidez, mixing it up for real. And that's a fight that people they're going to want to see again, Morrell and Benavidez in the future. I just think so. The first fight was so good. Najee Lopez, another guy in the mix, 26. They're getting younger, man. And all the guys at 175 is older. Like Bivol is 34, Bitterbill 40, Keller Smith 35. Albert Ramirez, 33. That's gonna be a good matchup for somebody. He's supposed to be a mandatory for Benavidez, I think. Albert Ramirez. He kind of stiff, but he got a lot of power. But yeah, that's what a lot of fans are afraid of right now. They know that they can't push any narratives. They're not really happy they can't push any narratives right now. They can't say anybody's ducking because there's not no ducking going on in boxing. Your favorite fighter just don't want to fight nobody. You're just gonna have to accept that. It ain't no ducking going on. He ain't ready. If he ain't doing what Morrell doing, he ain't ready. End of story. Morrell ain't got more power than a lot of these other guys, promoters. He just accepting whatever offer come his way. And I can respect that. When David Morrell name come up, you'll never hear about, hey man, he ain't take this offer. Or he need a tune-up first. And he's 27 with 13 fights. If anybody needs a tune-up, it's probably him. That's why I love the direction that boxing is going, man. You can't hustle your way through boxing like they used to. You know what I'm saying? Have guys fighting smaller weight guys, and then as soon as the guy get 35, they say, oh man, he's too small. Nah, that's not the way boxing's supposed to be going. But all these little things have hurt boxing. It's little things, but it adds up after a while, because if you got 100 holes in the floor, bro, it's gonna fall in eventually. And that's where it's at. But I feel like it's a separation going on right now, because with Benavidez, Morrell, you could throw Norman, Shakur Stevenson. A lot of these guys got to make that next turn if they want to follow behind these guys' footsteps. Because these younger fighters, they're trying to move like Terrence Crawford's moving. I've already seen a few guys moving like Terrence Crawford. I know PBC has plans and everything else on their end about what they're trying to do. It's already evident at this point. They made the Lamont Roach and Pitbull fight fast. So they definitely have a plan. And that's going to be a very good fight too. But a lot of these guys got to turn that corner though. It's that time. A lot of them. Because I feel like a lot of guys who don't have to prove themselves naturally keep getting in the ring. If I'm Pitbull, I'm going to be real with y'all. Pitbull could have been like, man, I ain't fighting nobody. I'm just going to wait till this Tank fight. I ain't even got to fight Ryo. I'm chilling. Because everybody else is doing that. So Pitbull fought Ryo last year. Fought Rolly last year. Then he gonna fight Roach this year. So that's another guy. I'm telling you, bro, they're gonna get left behind out here. That's how you know certain fights just not getting turned down. They're not getting turned down at all. It's just not happening. And that's what fans are scared of. They know that people are not turning down fights now. They know that they can't talk for 6 or 7, 8 months about what somebody ain't doing. That's why Jaron, Ennis and those guys have to focus on them right now, because they haven't speeded up the process like fans thought they would. That's the only reason. But it's not that many people to criticize, because everybody in the mix. And that's the best way that boxing needs to go. Boxing needs to go in that direction. Because if it doesn't, it's going to leave more time to talk about things other than the matchup. And I think these matchups definitely need a lot of attention, especially with the women's boxers. Bro, if y'all seen what they've been doing lately, 3-minute rounds. They're doing 3-minute rounds this month. That's a huge deal. Everybody that said they wanted to see knockouts of women's fights, they're going to do 3-minute rounds. It's going to be some brutal knockouts with 3-minute rounds in women boxing. I've seen a couple of fights where it would have been 30 more seconds. Man, somebody would have got stopped.
So I think this is a huge change that needs to happen because a lot of females want to fight in 3-minute rounds. They don't fight a lot anyways. Some of these girls fight once or twice every 2 years. So I know they'll want to have a 30-minute fight, or if it's 10 minutes, 10 rounds, 3-minute round, 30 minutes, even 8 round fight, be 24 minutes. They just want to get in that ring. Well, when you're fighting for only 16, 20 minutes, huge difference. Because now you get to see what the stamina is like. They can game plan a lot more, better strategy, more time to execute. But we're going to see some brutal knockouts this month. I think Jake Paul has another card coming up, MVP Promotions. I want to say it comes on next week. I know Jaron Ennis is fighting this weekend. Then they have Dave Allen and Makhmudov fighting on Saturday. Seems like the winner of that fight could possibly fight a Wilder. I don't know. Seems like they're trying to line up something like that. It's not really a lot of heavyweights to offer a fight right now. The fact that Richard Torres has jumped ahead of Moses Atama for this Frank Sanchez fight that's wild to me. And my thing is, when are these Cuban heavyweights gonna start getting respect? We got Luis Ortiz, who people feel like he doesn't deserve a fight. They're saying that he's done. Yeah, they gotta start giving these Cuban heavyweights a lot more respect, man. These guys are really dangerous. Frank Sanchez only got 1 loss. Let's look at all the Cuban heavyweights real quick. You got Luis Ortiz, 3 losses, 2 to Wilder. He lost once to Andrew Ruiz. He didn't get stopped though. The only guy who stopped Luis Ortiz was Deontay Wilder. The man, 46 years old, they still don't want to fight him. 46 years old. Yeah, I like the heavyweight talent that's coming out of Cuba, but they don't be giving these guys enough opportunities, to be honest with you. And then you got Daniel Pero. He's 26, 6'5". Yeah, they got some good heavyweights coming out of Cuba. And for Frank Sanchez not to get an opportunity, throw Moses Atama in there with Luis Ortiz. I bet everybody would watch that. Luis Ortiz versus Moses Atama. But he's trying to fight Michael Hunter or Adelaide. That's not a good fight. That's not stuff that people want to see. But yeah, they starting to mix it up well though, man. I think next year is going to be the biggest year we've had. Actually, this year is the biggest year we've had. But next year, it's going to be a year that a lot of diehard fans are going to want to tune in to see. It's going to be a lot of matchups. Like January, right now, the way they're talking about January, this is probably going to be the best January we had since probably 2016 or something. But this January is a lot of fights are going to happen. They're saying right now that Rolly, Romero, and Manny Pacquiao will fight in January. I thought that fight was going to be in December, but Manny Pacquiao has an event coming up in November for his Manny Pacquiao Promotions. He got rebranded recently, so instead of it saying MP Promotions, it says Manny Pacquiao. And he's going to be doing more fights. He's going to be doing more fights in the States now, starting in November. It's a very good fight, too. Smaller weights. I think he got Elijah Pierce, who should have had an opportunity to fight anyway. He's going to be fighting somebody, and then they have another big name on the card. I forgot his name. But yeah, Manny Pacquiao making moves. We just had Amir Khan had a fight on last week. So a lot of what's different right now is a lot of boxers are getting promotional companies. And they're actually using the companies to put on big fights. Last week, that Brandon Glanton versus Marcus Brown fight was a Amir Khan Promotions fight. They have Koi Kameda. I don't know if everybody knows Koi Kameda. He's a lower weight guy. I think he's out of Japan, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a fighter that's putting on a big fight coming up. He has Neary. It's Luis Neary and somebody else. Luis Neary is fighting somebody. I think it's at the co-main event. And on the main event, I think Kameda has his brother fighting somebody. But yeah, they have a lot of fighters right now that's putting together big boxing events. They had Michael Conlon do one last year with Pro Box. I think that was in Ireland or something. That was the one where they had Javier Fortuna. And speaking of Fortuna, I'm hearing that Fortuna is going to be fighting. What's the name they had today for Fortuna? Man, who's at 47? I think it's somebody at 47. Let me look this up real quick. Javier Fortuna has a fight with somebody coming up. It just surprised me too. I think the guy's like a 47 or something. Who is Javier Fortuna? They're talking about fighting. Oh, Rashidi Ellis. Javier Fortuna will be facing off against Rashidi Ellis at 47. Somebody said Javier Fortuna at 47 is nasty. Somebody said, bro, Fortuna still fighting? No, they got the poster up. Hey, they got the poster up, PD. Let me put it up. This is crazy. He said a Cuban 46, American 50. He said American 50. Yeah, that 46 is crazy. I thought he was 46 years ago. Then he dyed his hair recently. I'm like, I don't know if he got waves in there trying to cover up. But here go the picture right here. They got Fortuna versus Rashidi Ellis November 1st. I was trying to wonder. I was like, who did I thought he was fighting 54. Arena. Oh, in Connecticut. Okay. Yeah, that's wild though, man. Javier Fortuna, he looked bad his last fight. He was out of shape, inactive. Still a good fighter. Fortuna can punch with these guys. Besides, I'm gonna be honest with you. Besides that Ryan Garcia fight, I don't think he had that many issues. I don't know. I think I missed that Santiago fight. Yeah, I missed this Alfredo Santiago fight. I didn't watch that. I don't know how I missed that fight. Oh, that was the same day Roach fought Tank. That's why I missed that fight. Okay, so Alfredo Santiago had stopped Fortuna recently. And Fortuna came in at 147. And Alfredo Santiago was 140 and still stopped him. This dude came in at 146 and still got stopped. Yeah, Fortuna, I don't think he's in the best shape, man. He might get stopped by Rashidi Ellis. He definitely might get stopped by Rashidi Ellis. He in the same situation Gamboa was at later on in his career. He did. He was so big. I was like, this dude fighting at 140? Yeah, that's the fact that he came in to a 140 fight at 46. He ain't even try to lose weight. Yeah, he ain't even try to lose weight. And he weighed in at 46 every fight before that, so yeah, he knew what he was gonna do. I like how Santiago went in there and stopped him though. Cause Davies couldn't stop. He couldn't stop. He couldn't stop Javier Fortuna. I thought Fortuna had beat Davies. He dropped him in the last round. And Davies lost right after that. Yeah, Davies been getting beat up. Got beat up by Lipinets. You know them undersized guys at 40. The guys who's like undersized at 140. A lot of those guys still dangerous. Like Lipinets and Fortuna, they'll get beat up and stop probably, but like Adam Azim has stopped Lipinets recently. And the crazy part is that's the only time Lipinets got stopped twice. I mean, that was the second time he got stopped, other than that Jaron Ennis fight. So he got stopped against Jaron Ennis and then Adam Azim. He only been stopped twice though. He's fought a lot of people. He fought some guys at a dangerous time. Then he stopped Lamont Peterson. He had a draw with Custio Clayton. Yeah, so that was a good matchup. But yeah, I like the way boxing is going right now, man. You got some guys who's going back and forth, but these young guys know now that hey, it's time to make these fights happen. Not too many guys getting called out. You don't have to do that in boxing these days. The best fights, I'm telling you, the best fights we've seen over the last 2 years are fights where guys aren't really going back and forth and calling each other out. They have a situation right now where Turkey Al-Sheikh has joined forces in a landmark partnership to deliver world-class boxing, darts, and snooker events to fans across Saudi Arabia and worldwide. Together, we're shaping unforgettable moments in global boxing. Oh, global sport, my bad. In the global sport, my bad. They said this deal ensures Riyadh season continues to play a key part and visible role in some big nights ahead for Matchroom Sports with a multi-channel partnership and the Riyadh season brand featuring prominently across Matchroom Sports events. Riyadh season launched in 2019. You remember when I told people that Riyadh season, the first event that Riyadh season did, as far as I knew, was the Andrew Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. And I told people around that time that a lot of Canelo was actually at that fight in Riyadh season. So it wasn't in Riyadh. It was somewhere in Saudi Arabia. It wasn't in Riyadh. It was somewhere else. I think it was somewhere with like a D or something. Starts with a D. But yeah, in its partnership with Matchroom Boxing, has already had brought some of the sport's most exciting showdowns to Riyadh as well as across the globe, including in the UK, USA, and Mexico, attracting high-level international attention and top-tier talent such as Anthony Joshua, Dimitri Bivol, John Patah, and Conor Benn, who faces bitter rival Chris Eubank Jr. It's just naming off some other names that's participating in Riyadh that's involved, like Bam Rodriguez fighting Puma Martinez and Yard and Benavidez fighting. But yeah, this is a huge deal for Turkey Al-Sheikh and these guys. I don't know if this was a situation where, because I heard recently Eddie Hearn's father was like, if anybody's going to partner with them or do any kind of business with them, they would have to. It would be like more of a partnership than them actually selling the company. They probably won't be involved day to day all the time, but they just want to have a criteria set to where once they walk away from sports or boxing or anything else, that it'll be in good hands with whoever's in charge at the point. But Hearn will be hanging around for the time being. Other fights that they have is going to be scheduled. And then they say this month with standout events like October 6 King Slam. They're going to have an event where 6 of the men's leading tennis players in the world will compete against each other. They got some things going on in boxing and tennis and other sports, but mainly in boxing. They have a tournament coming up next month by GBM Promotions. It's a new Arabic. It might be Pakistani or something like that. It's a guy over there in the UK. He's a new promoter, and he's doing a tournament in November with some big name prospects from over there. They're doing like a lot of tournament style events. I want to say October, November, and December. Because we still have the Grand Prix coming up. They still have that tournament going on with a lot of the medalists around the world still competing to get that top spot. But it's a lot of moves being made. I think this is more of a, he said, we are delighted to enter, this is Eddie Hearn, we're delighted to enter an exciting partnership with Riyadh season as our special relationship continues to thrive and we're just getting started. Yeah, because recently Eddie Hearn was saying he was going to sell Matchroom, and then Turkey Al-Sheikh was talking about possibly purchasing the company. The Eddie Hearn dad was saying that they're not just going to hand the company off to anybody just for a boatload of money. It has to be certain criteria they stick to if you're going to continue to run the company without them. But a partnership is what they're doing right now, and it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And then you have Eddie Hearn still have a lot of fighters involved. You got Andy Cruz. You still got Jaron Ennis. Andy Cruz is in a good spot right now too. He's possibly going to get Murat's belt and Shakur Stevenson. If he gets that at 135, he's going to be running the show for the next 2 years. It's not too many guys at 135 that's going to be able to challenge him if Shakur Stevenson leaves. So next 2 years, he can run that whole weight class. So they have a lot of events coming up. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for coming through and hanging with me on live today. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna try to give out some more content today. There's a lot of things going on. I had forgot about this back and forth. I gotta post then women's boxing. When y'all see this, I seen somebody already posted. It was like 2 days ago though. They posted it today, but it was like 2 days ago it happened. But they got some things going on in women's boxing outside the ring. You definitely not gonna want to miss this. But I appreciate everybody supporting the live, man.